Hadis Gold is live in London on the scene, and our international diplomatic editor Nick Robertson joins us from our London bureau. I want to start with you first, Hadis. Just bring us up to speed with what you're hearing.
So just before 2 p.m. is when London Emergency Services said they first received calls of an incident happening here in Streatham. This is the Streatham High Street. We're about 8 miles south of central London. This is a very busy high street full of shops and restaurants. Now, the police say that it does appear that one man went on some sort of stabbing spree and stabbed at least 2 people. All we know so far is that at least 2 people are injured. We do not know the conditions of those people. The suspect, however, police have confirmed, has been shot dead. This all happened just around 2 p.m. Now, this entire road has been shut off to also residents who can no longer go back to their apartments or leave the area. It is still very much secure. There's lots of emergency vehicles around here. You can also see just down the street. If you see down the street, right as the street sort of bends, that is where the incident happened, around a pharmacy and a cash converter area. Still lots of police presence out here. There's also helicopters still flying above us. Now, I actually just spoke to a man who lives in this area, whose brother-in-law lived right above where the incident took place, and he showed me some photos and videos that jive with what we are also hearing from other witnesses. It appears as though the man was holding some sort of machete and also had some sort of silver canisters either attached to him or near him. Now, this is strikingly similar to what we saw in the December London Bridge terrorist attack, where a man was stabbing people and also had some sort of devices attached to him. Of course, in these situations, police do not know if these devices are real or fake, what they mean.
Why not tomorrow?
Well, the Democrats have the ability to drag out the trial. There was an agreement reached to do it Wednesday at 4. Allow some Democratic candidates to go to Iowa. I think that had a lot to do with it. But we're going to turn the page on impeachment at 4 o'clock Wednesday. All Republicans will vote not guilty. I think we'll pick up a handful of Democrats. I'm glad this trial is coming to end. It's the closest I ever want to be to being in purgatory, so it's been painful. It's going to end, and we're going to turn the page and deal with the issues important to the American people. And the day of reckoning is coming for congressional and Senate oversight of Joe Biden and the FISA warrant process.
All right, I want to talk about Joe Biden and the FISA process because you're in a position to really get these people down to speak. But first, let's talk a moment on impeachment. Right. This goes all the way back to when the president was first elected, and then in about a year ago, back in January of 2018, Congresswoman Tlaib, what she said. Let's take a look at what she said more than a year ago.
When your son looks at you and says, "Mama, look, you won," bullies don't win. And I said, baby, they don't, because we're going to go in there, we're going to impeach them.
Senator, they have wanted to impeach.
Proved its case. The House proved the corrupt scheme. I also think it's important that the Senate take the next step. Having found him guilty, if indeed that's what they have found, they need to remove him from office because he is threatening to still cheat in the next election.
I think that he knows now that if he is trying to do certain things, whether it's ferreting out corruption there, in Afghanistan, whatever it is, he needs to go through the proper channels. Yes, I will vote to acquit because, again, whether you like what the president has done or not, you know, we can argue this up one side and down the other all day. Does it come to the point of removing a president from office? I don't believe this does.
SNL's mockery of the trial almost seemed like it was a process that had more integrity than the actual trial, having no witnesses at all. Why would a president who is innocent go to these lengths to suppress evidence? Of course, we know why, and we know what's going on the floor of the Senate. As upsetting as what's going on in the Senate is, the thing that I'm always reminding voters of, especially in these closing days of the Iowa caucuses, is that, yeah, the Senate is the jury today, but we are the jury tomorrow.
It will be up to the senators to make that final judgment, and the senators will be held accountable for it.
The information about the Bidens is out there, and so now it is up to the American people to decide, you know, was that a good choice for Hunter Biden to be on that board, especially at a time when his father was trying to ferret out corruption in Ukraine.
But we're going to get to the bottom of this, and I can prove beyond any doubt that Joe Biden's effort in the Ukraine to root out corruption was undercut because he let his son sit on the board of the most corrupt company in the Ukraine, and we're not going to give him a pass on that.
Free, 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 free.
Here's what we know as we come on the air. There is a new confirmed case of the virus here in the United States, bringing the total to 8 cases. In China, where this all started, there have now been more than 300 deaths, including 45 since yesterday. And we now have the first death outside of China, a man in the Philippines.
And we have team coverage this morning from both the U.S. and China. We begin with ABC's Clayton Sandell, who's in Riverside County, California, where 200 people have been quarantined. Clayton, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Whit. It is day 5 of the quarantine here at this military base. Those Americans evacuated from China are getting a health screening every 12 hours. Now, so far, no one is showing any symptoms, but on the East Coast, a new confirmed case in Boston and a suspected case in New York have officials watching very closely.
Starting today, the U.S. is closing its doors, blocking foreign nationals who recently traveled to China, an effort to slow the rapid spread of novel coronavirus.
At 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the United States government will implement temporary measures to increase our abilities to detect and contain the coronavirus.
The restrictions kicking in as Massachusetts confirms its first case.
It seems to be an isolated incident.
The patient is a university student who traveled to Wuhan, China, the epicenter of the outbreak, arriving at Logan Airport Tuesday. He's now at home in isolation.
There is no fear right now of coronavirus as far as spreading to the city of Boston or to my knowledge, to Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
New York now joining a list of 37 states investigating suspected cases. On the West Coast,
just checking in here from day 4 of the quarantine.
Those 195 Americans evacuated from Wuhan last week, including kids, will be monitored over 2 weeks for symptoms.
We're just making the best of it, enjoying the weather. The weather has been beautiful, and just kind of making the best of it while we're out here and trying to keep a positive attitude.
There are now 8 confirmed novel coronavirus cases in 5 states.
We still have a low risk to the American public, but we want to keep it at a low risk.
But if the outbreak continues to spread and more evacuations are needed, the U.S. military is designating bases in Colorado, California, and Texas that could house 1,000 people in quarantine. The ripple effects of the virus now infecting the economy. Apple and Starbucks closing stores in China, and airlines, United, American, and Delta, canceling all China flights.
As for the folks here in quarantine, even if they test negative, they will be stuck here for the entire 2 weeks because we're told the virus can incubate for about 14 days. Now, we are also told that they're going to have a little fun today, hopefully, when they all gather to watch the Super Bowl. Eva?
All right, Clayton, thank you.